Without keystone species, the food web will die. That means everything. Salmon are a keystone species. No salmon, no web. Which leads us to the question, will the food web really die? With the declining salmon population, it may. Salmon were introduced to the Great Lakes from the Pacific Ocean and some parts of the Atlantic. The U.S. Commission of Fish and Fisheries tried to approve the introduction of salmon to the Great Lakes in the early 1870s, but they were not successful. In the early 1950s, they finally made it. The salmon were stocked in the Great Lakes to get rid of the overpopulated alewives. Ships brought zebra and quagga mussels by their ballast tanks from their native home, the Caspian Sea, which has lifetime effects. The mussels were brought over in the early 1980s by the vessels. When ships crossed the Great Lakes from the Atlantic Ocean, they had to empty the excess water from their ballast tanks. The ballast water that they took on in the Caspian seaports to give the ship balance was full of non-lake species such as zebra and quagga mussels. These mussels destroy food webs from the bottom up, filtering nutrients and plankton which are eaten by alewives, the salmon's primary food source. Due to the zebra and quagga mussels, the salmon population is dropping rapidly. The mussels eat and destroy alewives' food and habitats. So when the salmon went to eat the alewives, there was not enough for salmon to live off of. Without food, the salmon can't survive. Salmon, unlike other species, could not adapt to the devastation to the food web's low amounts of alewives. The lake trout adapted and found other fish species that they could eat. The lake trout are now eating whitefish, sculpin, and minnows, although salmon can only eat fish due to their digestive systems. With alewives being their main food source, they had no time to find something else. This led to the massive drop in salmon numbers. The answer to the dropping numbers is hatcheries. Conversely, some will argue that hatcheries aren't the answer because we just send them back out into the wild where they still have no food. However, hatcheries have a lot of other ways to help the salmon populations. The problem is the overall salmon population has gone down significantly, twice in the past 42 years, once in 1984, next in 2014. First, the first major species drop out was a widely spread health issue. The Great Salmon Withdrawal of 1984 was because of a very serious kidney disease called the proliferative kidney disease, or PKD, that almost wiped out the salmon species completely. This disease was originally found in a California state hatchery. The PKD was also found in other major organs like the spleen, liver, gills, and pyloric ceca of the affected fish, which means it was a widely spread disease over the whole fish. Secondly, quagga and zebra mussels overpopulation in the Great Lakes is the leading cause for the most recent salmon population drop. Salmon eat alewives, and alewives eat plankton, but so do zebra and quagga mussels. So, alewives are dying out because they have nothing to eat. This is relevant because if there are no alewives, there is zero food left for the salmon, so they go hungry. Last, salmon are known as a keystone species, meaning they are not very big in the whole scheme of things, but if the ecosystem is going to survive, they are vital. In that way, salmon are even important after they die, because their decomposing remains serve as essential nutrients for fertilizers, which help trees. So if they die out, surrounding plant and animal life will be close behind. Salmon carcasses are not the only way trees and plants grow, but it is a more natural way than chemical fertilizers. Many charters depend on Chinook salmon. With their numbers going down, their businesses are suffering. For example, many people depend on salmon. With their population dwindling, many people will go hungry or not get the correct nutrients. There are some solutions to solving the population problem, like salmon hatcheries, which are showing great improvement, and gobies, who eat zebra mussels. But the zebra and quagga mussels are still a big problem. Gobies are the main predator to the mussels. If there are more gobies eating more food, then the salmon have a greater chance at survival. Zebra mussels are very important to the gobies' diet. A single goby can eat 78 zebra mussels per day. Although, with the mussels' growing population, the gobies barely make a dent in their crowding. Combined with the salmon population problem that the hatcheries are on their way to fix, this can change the game. If we help the salmon grow efficiently in the hatcheries, we put larger numbers back into the lakes. They will also have a better chance to survive, with the gobies eating more and more of the zebra and quagga mussel. The declining salmon population is a rapidly growing issue, and we have to stop it if we want our ecosystem to continue to thrive. In doing that, we have to make sure that the salmon hatcheries stay around, so the other plant and animal species stay around too. Fish hatcheries are the reason that salmon species are still around. The hatcheries make it so the salmon have what they need to get through their first few stages. The hatcheries provide food and nutrients that are essential for their survival. These are the hardest stages. If they can get through them, they have a much higher chance of future survival. There are many ways to fix the declining salmon populations. We just have to be willing to work at them. It takes a village.